together. There's like 11 questions.
Okay.
Hey, doitall, how you doing today, brother?
What up, man? What's going on?
Same old thing, brother. Hey, brother, I just
All
want to ask you a couple of questions.
No doubt.
You ever met Tupac before?
Yeah, of course, man. You know, when you first encounter meeting someone, you don't know that those moments will become legendary and memorable. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, definitely met Tupac.
Have you ever dealt with him outside the business?
Yeah, I met Pac on tour. It was Lords of the Underground, Patra, Outkast, Tupac Shakur, and he had this big fat dude from Brooklyn with him on tour named Biggie Smalls at the time. So yeah, I met Pac on tour, man, and from meeting him there, we got cool, and I kicked it with him in Atlanta a couple of times. You know, he was my guy, man. He was a cool dude.
You know how you felt about the Outlaws?
How Pac felt about the Outlaws?
Yeah.
I mean, Pac cared about everybody, man. Like, Pac cared about the people in the struggle, you know, the have-nots, you know, the kings, the queens, the people trying to get it. So yeah, he cared a lot about them. You gotta understand the Outlaws, most of them were from New Jersey. And when you talk about the Outlaws, you know, Fatal comes to mind, you know, rest in peace. Gaddafi comes to mind, rest in peace. I introduced Fatal to Pac, or I introduced Pac to Fatal. But, you know, and the first time, and shout out to Noble too, one of the Outlaws. First time Noble was ever in a limousine, it was with me, with Lords of the Underground. So, you know, when you talk about the Outlaws, those my brothers, man. Those my dudes, and Pac cared a lot about them. And the reason he cared a lot about them because one was his god brother, you know, and they were dudes from a similar type of situation, and he pulled them in, man, and you know, tried to help them become what they wanted to be.
You can tell me a crazy Pac situation or Fatal situation?
Yeah, I got a crazy. I mean, I was on tour with Pac, so there's a couple, but Pac, I remember one time we were in, I believe it might have been Orlando, Florida, or right outside of Orlando, Florida. And this is early days. Like I said, Patra, Tupac, Lords of the Underground, Outkast. Outkast was opening up. So you know this was a long time ago. But we were still taking limousines. And something happened to Pac's limousine where it broke down. So he didn't have a ride. Pac went crazy on the promoter. How you, this my show, how you gonna have, woo, 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 woo. Went crazy on him. It's gonna be 7 broke lamps. I got 7 hotel rooms. It's gonna be 7 broke lamps, 7 broke this, that. He just wanted to get to his show to perform. And so being that he didn't have a limousine, Lords of the Underground said, yo, get in our car, you good with us. And then he also had the Outlaws with him. You know, I mean, the what you call them, the boys that was with him before the Outlaws.
Like Humpty Hump?
No. After that.
Oh, after that? Oh.
This clique that he was with.
Oh, man.
It wasn't it was Tupac and not the Outlaws though. But anyway, he had his homies with him. So they got into other cars. And he got into our car drinking Hennessy. We young, we 21 maybe. We all drinking Hennessy and just having a good time. So it wasn't a seat for Pac. So Pac got on the floor. And he had just finished doing a movie with Janet Jackson. What's that movie called? I'm tripping.
Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice, yes. He just got finished doing Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson. So we were curious. We were like, yo, Pac, how was it filming with Janet Jackson? Now I love Janet Jackson, but just to be discreet and frank, Pac was like, man, F that bitch. I was like, what's the matter? What's wrong with Janet? He's like, every day I'm coming to work in a car service. They bringing me food from Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. She coming in a helicopter. They got a chef on set for her. Treating this like she the queen. So he ain't really like that. And then I think he started going out on her because, like, well, what happened? Like, man, they gonna tell me in order to do a sex scene with her, I gotta take an HIV test. I was like, am I really gonna be sticking my thing in her? If I'm gonna stick my thing in her, I take an HIV test. If I ain't gonna stick my thing in her, I ain't gonna take an HIV test. And now, I would be bugging right now usually, but this is Tretch calling. Oh, Beezy.
What you do there?
Hey, yo, I just put you on speakerphone. I forgot to put my phone on vibrate. I'm in the middle of an interview, and the interview is about Tupac.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, you know he's still watching on her.
Yeah, man. Say what up to the homies, man, from Pac, man.
Yeah, what's up with you? Yeah.
You already, man. Yo, you close by?
Yeah. Huh?
You close by?
Nah, I'm on my side, but I'm gonna be over there later to get some things out the studio and stuff, but I don't know, when you gonna be there?
I'm gonna be around the corner at Governor Maddock Wait.
Alright, so when I go through there, I'll be with you.
Okay, peace.
Alright, peace.
Yeah, that's the homie Trigger Trizach. That's crazy, man. You know Tretch would love to be here right now, man. But we're gonna try to get him a later date. But yeah, man. So and then Pac started wilding on Janet, talking about she wanted him to take an HIV test, and actually DJ Lord Jazz from Lords on the Underground has that footage on a VHS tape. So we need to transfer that to digital.
Damn.
You know what I mean? I haven't seen that footage anywhere because Jazz hasn't released it. And then our battery died on us. But man, that was one of the fun nights that we had with Pac, man. Every time I got around Pac, you gotta understand Pac was a leader. If Pac was around a bunch of Muslims, he wanted to be the imam. If he was around some gangbangers, you would have thought he was the gang leader. If he was around Christians, you would have took him for the pastor. You know what I mean? So whoever he was around, he always took leadership in those and kind of led the way with those situations, man. So I do believe that hip hop would have took a different direction if it was led by Pac.
Yeah, you got anything on Fatal? You ever got any stories of Fatal?
Fatal, I don't have too many stories on Fatal. I mean, Fatal was a Jersey dude. Every time we crossed paths, it was nothing but love. Fatal has been in this studio right now where we are right now. I even have a song with Fatal. I just have to find it, but I know that it's probably on ballerstatus.com somewhere. Shout out to my man, The Advocate, who did a great story on Fatal. But Fatal, every time we crossed paths, it was nothing but laughs and jokes, and always my dude, man. I love that dude, you know. Rest easy to Fatal Hussein. I went to his funeral, you know, paid homage to his family and all of that. It's my guy, man, definitely.
And you ever been in the studio with Pac, and how fast he make his songs?
I haven't been in the studio with Pac. I missed a session with Pac being in LA, but I went in there with the Outlaws in J.O. Felony. I mean, Pac though Pac's technique was you come into the studio, you put on a beat, you vibe to it. If you vibe to it, whoever has the hook, put the hook down. If somebody has a verse, lay your verse. Soon as you get stuck, he moves on to the next track. And then he'll come in, yo, what you feeling this? Whoever has a verse, whoever has a hook, soon as you get stuck, move on to the next joint. So you'll have maybe 7 unfinished records or maybe 2 to 3 finished records. You know, he'll leave, by the time he leave out of there, it'll be 7 things done, man. Pac will have an album done in a week, literally. I mean, that's probably why he has so much music coming out after, you know, post-death.
So what you think Pac and Outlaws have an impact on the youth of hip hop today?
I think that people who have, you know, you gotta understand hip hop has always been the voice of the unheard and the voice of the voiceless. So Pac coming out showed people that you can have a voice, even though some people who didn't understand the language that he was speaking took it as him being rebel, you know, and being this wild guy, when all he was just saying and really is fighting for our social justice and stuff like that. And that's what hip hop was really founded on. You know, we talked about and narrated our way through the culture by speaking about our social ills and social injustices and things of that nature. And I think a lot of people, and I'm gonna admit myself, I like Pop more as a friend and as a homie than I was actually a fanatic about his music. It's not until later that I really appreciate him, you know, his music the way that I appreciate it now, because anytime that you have a platform, we don't realize it when you're a young artist, because I didn't as well. Anytime you have a platform to say something, you need to say something, because my motto was, I'm not going to always do or say the things that a role model should, so don't follow me. But that's the wrong thing, because what I didn't realize is that Run DMC didn't tell me to take the shoestrings out of my Adidas. Run DMC didn't tell me to put on a leather blazer and a Godfather hat. We just did it because they did it, and they were popular. So anytime the pop culture has something going on, we follow it. Whether they tell us to or not, it becomes learned behavior. And with pop, you know, with people like Tupac, with people like Public Enemy, and people, you know, anybody that was talking real things, even NWA, by saying F the police, you know, anytime anybody is speaking conscious, they want to get rid of them, because it is that reason, learned behavior. Right now, if I take a positive record and put it on the radio 100 times a day, that will become your favorite tune, even if you did not like it when you initially heard it, after constantly being programmed into your head. You know, and that's what the radio station and television and all these media outlets, that's why they have program directors. They're directing what you should be programmed with. And that's all it is. So they don't let that conscious music, or that music telling you about positivity, and that music narrating the culture of telling you ins and outs of what to do and what not. They don't want that to be heard, because it might cause a revolution. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you think that because they got you know, like back in the day, we used to put out music and stuff, that things that we went through and positive things and stuff like that. You think the media and stuff like that got hip to what we was doing then, and now they let certain people rap about certain things and not let the positive in, more of just the club and then the women and stuff like that now? That's why we see more just that and not really positive music like we did back in the day.
I mean, that's exactly what I meant in the question prior. They're not going to allow that in. Anytime you know, music is a universal language. You know, so anytime you talk that